Okay, so welcome to Fullerton College and the Honors Program, and clearly this is extraordinary times with pandemic shelter in place, but we wanted to live stream from campus to kind of show you what the Honors Program is and will be for your students who are interested. So I'm Jody Balma, the Honors Coordinator, and we're in an empty lecture hall here on campus. I have my socially distant filmmaker, Paul Schultz, who is our honors assistant, who will be helping us live stream this and helping narrate the chat. And we'll call on him at the end because he is also an honor student who can share his experiences as well in his freshman year here at Fullerton College. So welcome. This will be available recorded, but if you're watching live, just join in and ask any questions while you're going, and we can absolutely answer those. So thank you for tuning in. This is our Fullerton College Library on campus. And so eventually, when the shelter-in-place restrictions have been lifted, we'll be back and you'll get to see our beautiful campus. But for now, we'll tell you about the program and a little bit about what your students and you will experience if you join us here in the fall. So first we have to acknowledge that things are a little bit different with this pandemic reality, and so right now our campus is closed, as almost every campus in the nation is, and we have gone to remote learning, transitioned very quickly, and most of you have experienced that in your own schools as well. So for now, that's the phrase that we're using, for now, and until we know different, that's what we're going to have to continue with. So the question that we have going forward, and you see, summer is going to be remote. And so if you're enrolled in summer classes, those are going to be remote, much like we've done in the spring semester, where the classes are online in whatever iteration that might be. So I want to just briefly talk about that difference and that distinction of remote versus online, because it ends up being a little bit important for what to expect. So online is back, if you remember, in February when we had on campus versus online, and then a third option of hybrid, which was some combination of that. So our online classes were students self-selected to be in online classes. Professors prepared for that and used our technology to prepare a class that way. And so, my analogy is always the difference between theater, which is live, on-campus experience, and film, where the professor goes off and prepares the class and delivers it in a remote way online. So that is what we have done and will continue to do. What we did this semester, and most of you have experienced it, is we took on-campus classes and put them in some iteration of remote learning, whatever that was going to be. And so we all learned the word Zoom and synchronized learning and Google Classroom and Google Chat and all of those sorts of things that we kind of had to build the plane while it was flying. And so what we're hoping to do is calm down a lot of that transition and make really deliberative plans for what that learning is going to be forward. So when you're registering for classes, summer is going to be completely online unless it's a remote class that may have some way to do that. I'm thinking about a golf class, for instance, that now might have golf courses that are open. Those, kind of step-by-step stages that will start to open up. We don't know when that's going to be again for now. So for fall, what we're planning on is that remote option is probably going to have to be in place in August, in September, for, if you could see this large lecture hall that I'm in, it will be a while before we're back here, before we're back in a lecture hall of 130 students with a 10-minute passing period. So there will be stages, and we're not sure exactly. And I know that that's really difficult, particularly for high school seniors who have dealt with such loss and such change in what they were expecting their senior year to be, to not have college know the answer, to not have clear direction in what fall will look like. Particularly those of you who are considering community college for the first time, because perhaps your college plans have been upended, that you're not going to be moving into a residential dorm and taking classes in 800-person lecture halls. So all of those choices. And so if you're here just trying to figure that out, unfortunately, I can't give you solid answers that are going to be true from now till December. What we can say is it's most likely that we are going to be starting remote, and for a lot of classes online, which means that there is no intention to go back. There is no intention to take a class that would have met in this room with 132 students and ever bring it back this semester until there are massive stages met for the governor's directives and all of those things. So unfortunately, we don't have strong answers that can tell you exactly what's happening. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But when we return is going to be a multi-step answer. So some classes are going to return faster, some classes are going to return earlier, and we just are not sure exactly when that is. So understand that there may be some discussion that you want to say, I want to be online. I don't want the possibility of remote where we're switching back and forth. I had enough of that in spring. So that might be an opportunity for you to choose a class that is deliberatively online for the entire semester. Remote has that opportunity to go back and forth if it allowed. So those are kind of the words that we're going to be using as we go through. So let's talk about the honors program at Fullerton College. This is me, the coordinator. And I am also a political science professor, and so I wear both hats on campus, but I'm here on campus or remote to help students. We had a Zoom meeting last night. For those of you who are there, welcome back. Usually I'm in our campus office, which I'll show you, but for now, we're going to pilot Cranium Cafe, which is another one of these remote options. So Cranium Cafe, you go to full call at craniumcafe.com, and you can see my slide, and you can knock on my door if I'm online, or you can schedule an appointment to talk to me. And so I'm going to take the weekend off, but if on Monday morning you want to come, I'll be there in between my office hours and my Zooms with my classes, and I have some guest speakers. But if I'm online, I'm absolutely, you can just make a guest login and we can talk and set up an office appointment online on your phone. Sometimes it works, whatever works. So eventually we'll be back in our beautiful college center in building 200, and we'll be able to talk. So this, since you don't get to do a campus tour, I'll show you, this is our dining hall, and this is our transfer center, and straight through those doors that will eventually open again, you'll go up the stairs and down the hall, and the honors program office will be there, along with student life and leadership and associated students. Lots of great campus opportunities when we finally return to campus. So, what are we talking about with the honors program? The first thing is that the honors program is a little bit different from honors programs in high school, that you apply for the honors program and you can take whichever classes you want. So if we're talking about college, kind of taking a step back, 60 units is what you're looking at. A unit of coursework is about an hour of meeting on campus per week. So my American government class is a 3-hour-a-week class, either twice, Mondays and Wednesdays, or once on Wednesdays. So it's a 3-hour class. So that's a 3-unit. Some math classes and science classes are longer, so they're 5 units. Some classes are condensed. There's a introduction to research class that's 1 unit because it's 1 hour a week, or it's a condensed class. So those are kinds of the units of measurement that we're talking about, and you need about 60 of them to transfer. So if you took 15 units in fall, and 15 units in spring, and 15 units the next fall, and 15 units the next spring, that's 60 units, and you're ready to transfer. That's how we get the term to your school. You might take longer, you might take fewer classes, you might take a study abroad, you might do a lot of different things that we're going to talk about to build that entire college experience. But if we're talking about a 60-unit course load to transfer, then 15 of those units can be honors, and then you finish the program. So it's not a situation, we had a question last night, do I have to take every single class? No, not at all. In fact, we don't offer a lot of classes A lot of classes are not going to have an honors companion course. So some classes are going to be and some classes aren't, but you're just looking for a target of 15. The benefit of the honors program, so many benefits. We have smaller classes. Instead of 45 students or 90 students or 130 students, you're going to be in a class of 20, which is a really nice, smaller experience. You're going to get to know your faculty member, your professor really well. You're going to get to know your classmates really well. And one of the things you're really gaining from being in the honors program, even if you only take 1 or 2 classes, is that you're going to get to know a lot of the students who are in the honors program. And you'll get to have a community of scholars. You'll have other students around you who are also motivated to transfer, also motivated to maybe apply for a research conference or do an internship in your field. And the honors program is open to all different majors. So you might be in, honors American government with people who are art majors and engineering majors and political science majors and all different kinds of majors, philosophy and English, and you get into a class and you get to really have a lot of discussion-based, a lot of student-led inquiry, where the students are kind of guiding the class, maybe leading the class, doing student presentations, student research. It is a really big part of our honors program. So that's a big advantage. We also have honor societies that you can join and get that community spirit of getting to know people in a less academic sense and getting to know a lot of friends and doing some good work. So lots of benefits. What do you need to do to join? You need a 3.4 GPA in high school. If you are close to that, we want you. What we're really looking for is interest in the program, interest in succeeding. And the reality is that college is an amazing opportunity to become who you want to be. And that past performance in high school doesn't define who you're going to be in college, and you get to come to college and decide what that is. So if you're interested in the honors program, if you're tuning in on a Friday night, we want you. So if you have not done well in high school, and particularly right now, if this experience of transitioning online has been really difficult, we're going to take a look at that, and we can bypass this semester altogether, and really entering in with an interest in success is what we're looking for. So how do we gauge that if it's not by GPA? You can give us a faculty referral. Some teacher who believes in you or just your interest, you can convince us that you want to apply and be a part of this just by applying online and letting us look at what you've got. So if you've been on the dean's list or the president's list, that tends to be something we're looking for after you already get here. So that if students have not done well in the past and suddenly they find themselves and they find their academic motivation, if you are on the dean's list or the president's list, you're automatically accepted. For those of you who might be parents or others who heard about this, we love returning students. If you think, hey, I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the fall, come to the honors program. Some of our most successful students never graduated high school, came back after 20 years. I had one student who actually went to school because she came to this orientation with her daughter. Her daughter decided she didn't want to join, but she decided she did. So they both graduated 2 years later with degrees from Fullerton College. So it's not just limited to high school students, even though that's kind of what I'm geared towards. So we want everybody. If you're a veteran or a returning student, if you've been out of high school for 5 years, if you're a veteran coming back to school, we're not looking at your GPA at all. Your interest in returning to school is almost always the predictor of your success. So I know it can be scary, and I often talk to returning students who say, I haven't been in a classroom for X number of years. Yeah, you wanting to come back is probably the biggest indicator that you're going to be an incredible success. And we love having honor students from all different walks of life and experience. And one of my favorite classes was one that we had a 13-year-old and an 80-year-old in a political science class, and we had some of the best conversations. And one of the things I really enjoy about those smaller classes, and one of the things I noticed pretty early on, was that we love the people who ask questions, we love the people who raise their hands, and the other students do as well. And sometimes I think there's a hesitancy to be the one to ask the questions if everybody else is trying to get out of class early and going to roll their eyes when you ask a question. That inquiry is really the fun part about a smaller class, that allows that discussion to go a little bit off topic and blend in and weave some of those other discussions from other classes. So if you're a curious person, we want you in the honors program. So one of the benefits of the Fullerton College Honors Program is that we belong to a bigger program called the Honors Transfer Council of California, which is Fullerton College and all the other community colleges honors programs, and their directors and counselors meet, and we work together. We work collaboratively, and so there are 115 community colleges in the state. A lot of them, about half, have honors programs, and I have to say some of them are really, really excellent, and I would really recommend them. Their directors are friends of mine, so if you're somebody who's thinking, oh, you know, I'm not sure that Fullerton College is the one for me, we have amazing honors programs at Saddleback and Miracosta and Mount Sac and Cypress and Santiago Canyon and Santa Ana College, and all my other friends who are honors directors are probably watching and saying, why didn't you remember mine? They're all really great, and so I don't want to say that ours is the only one, and in fact, we work together and collaboratively to have honors transfer agreements for everyone in a community college honors program. So if Fullerton College ends up not having the program that you want, or not having something else that you want, if you're pre-veterinary, you may want to look at Mount Sac for that program. Lots of reasons that you might look at different community colleges, and there's no reason that you can't take classes at multiple ones, especially in an area like ours that has so many relatively close. So if you finish the program, whatever that means, for us it means being honors certified at Fullerton College. Once you get honors certified at whatever program you're in, you have access to these transfer partnerships available from the Honors Transfer Council. So we have a link on our website that takes you to those, and Alana Rosenberg, who is our honors transfer director for the HTCC, is working all of the time with our transfer partners and updating those transfer agreements. And so we have transfer agreements with UCI, and UCLA has a different program, but lots of private schools, Chapman and Whittier College, and some of them have financial aid and some of them have housing agreements. So check that out on our website. Lots of good information. These are some of them that we have, and so I'll spend a little bit of time so you can see that. But Arizona, Pomona, San Diego State, Concordia, Mills College, what's the one? Amherst has tons of financial aid that's need-based, so there's lots of opportunities to transfer to private schools. And one of the things in California I think we sometimes forget is that, particularly if you're going to a community college, there are massive opportunities for financial aid when you transfer. And private schools really do have a tremendous amount of ability to offer that. And so you want to check out our transfer center, you want to talk to them, you want to meet with some of these transfer reps and say, I'm in the honors program, and all of a sudden there are some advantages and benefits. And you can check them out and see if it works for you. So UCLA is a big one. We also have a lot of acceptance to Berkeley. Another school we send a lot of people to, Cal State Fullerton, UCI, lots of our local transfer institutions. UCLA is one I get a lot of questions about, and so I just put that statistic up. And UCLA and Berkeley have just announced recently, and so we're still tabulating, but this is based on last year. And so it's a pretty impressive number. When you look at Fullerton College students that weren't done with the honors program, that weren't honors certified, meaning they finished the program with 15 units of honors coursework and had a GPA of at least 3.4. 17% acceptance rate. So the Fullerton College students that applied to UCLA, 17% acceptance rate. For those of you who have applied out of high school, that's a pretty similar number, somewhere around 19% for high school seniors applying to UCLA. It's just incredibly competitive. When you take a look at our honors certified, it's 84%. And so a huge advantage. And I was just at a Zoom meeting for UCLA, which was nice to avoid that commute, I have to admit. But it was really nice to see that out of this year's crop of applicants for transfer, 98% of those honors students who were TAP certified, meaning they were transfer acceptance program certified, 98% got their first choice of major. One of the advantages to applying to the UC, if you are honors certified, is that you get to apply to 2 different majors. And the UCs accept those students based on the department, not the overall school. When you apply to the CSUs, they accept based on the school, and then you are sent to the department. So that advantage of being accepted or reviewed by 2 different majors, maybe you're applying to an incredibly impacted, and there are 12 highly impacted majors, highly selective majors. If you're applying to one of those, you kind of want the backup. So for instance, biology is a very difficult major to transfer into at UCLA, and so we want our students to have a second backup major in case they don't get accepted in biology. They would still get accepted to UCLA. So that's one of the advantages of the honors transfer program and honors certification. Again, we also have special admits, returning students, veterans. Special admits, I just want to mention because I taught at their high school, we absolutely have a program, and it's called Special Admit. So you want to Google Fullerton College Special Admit. You can find that. You usually have to go through your school, your institution, and get approval from the administration to make sure that they authorize that. It's just a financial agreement we have between the schools, and then they can take classes. And so we have lots of special admits students who are in junior high or high school who have a special interest and want to take a class, and they are absolutely welcome in the honors program. So if there's a class that they're interested in and it has honors in the class schedule, you might want to just come to Cranium Cafe or shoot me an email, talk to our counselors, talk to our student assistants about how do we apply. But you could also just apply. There's a button on that application and you can apply, and we would love to talk to you and your student about joining. So returning students, veterans, special admit students sometimes don't think that they're qualified for the honors program. Absolutely not true. We'd love to see you in the honors program. So where do you go? One of the stigmas involved in community college, and one of the reasons I think that a lot of people don't consider the community college, particularly those, sort of high achieving students in high school who have their sights set on a 4-year school and that residential experience, is because they feel like they might get stuck at the community college. And so I want to just talk about, don't believe me, I work here. Believe our alumni. And so we have lots of alumni. There are lots of scholarships available, and some of our biggest success stories are those people who have transferred and then gone on to grad school, gotten huge, massive, prestigious scholarships. Alan Brantley is at Stanford University after getting the Jack Kent Cooke Award, which is a scholarship up to $40,000, and so it tends to go to students who are at private schools that aren't going to get all of the financial aid covered. If you were going to a state school that was going to cover most of it, that $40,000 wouldn't go very far because it just backfills whatever isn't covered by financial aid. So we tend to see those awards going to private institution transfers, but anybody can apply. So Alan Brantley is at Stanford University with the Jack Kent Cooke Award, which is incredibly prestigious. I think 88 community college students across the nation. And we were pleased not just to have him, but another alumni that you'll see in a minute. And then Laurel Fuentes was a Jack Kent Cooke awardee from a while back. She went to Stanford and is now at Harvard Dental School. And she's right across the dorm from Bennett Cho, who is at Harvard Medical School. So lots of alumni going to grad school at Columbia and Harvard. Amy Aldana is now graduated from Harvard, and she was in the Zoom meeting last night for those of you who were there, and she's now working at Harvard and had some really great advice about admissions there. So there's Corey Lamb. He's currently at Stanford. He transferred in last year, and another Jack Kent Cooke Award recipient. So lots of transfer success. Berkeley, Susie Morales and Jason Barker both transferred to Berkeley. We've got lots of UCLA and lots of Cal State Fullerton and lots of Long Beach. Every school we have success at transferring. So some of the things you're going to be doing in the classes themselves, we're really looking for high impact learning. What we want to do is, get you in a smaller group and delve into. It's not designed to be harder. It's designed to be deeper. And I think that that's really an important ideological framework that our program embraces. That we're not looking to load you up with, graduate level inquiry as a freshman. We're looking to dive deeper into a subject. And again, I'll use my subject. There's lots of different subjects in the honors program, not just political science. We have science, and we have biology, and we have art history. We have an amazing art history class, and English, all over the academic spectrum. So I'm just using my example because it's what I teach. But what I'm looking at is the idea that instead of teaching a class of 90 where I'm not sure if everybody's done the reading and I'm not sure if everybody understands the difference between, the different kinds of interest groups, for instance, I can go into a class of 20 and pretty easily gauge that everybody has done the reading, pretty much gauge that everyone is on track, understanding things. And so we can dive deeper into a discussion about it. We can dive deeper into a discussion about campaign finance, and we can talk about the current election, and we can talk about, what happens when you're trying to raise money during a pandemic, and what about corporate interests. And we can have a great discussion because we can move a little bit faster. So it's not that I'm having people do a research paper every week or we're reading an extra book. It's that we can really go into some of these, what we call high impact practices. So seminar style, where we're getting to talk more, where we're getting more discussion. Deeper discovery, student presentations, where students are investigating some part and doing a presentation. Maybe bringing information about a subject and presenting it to the class, leading a group, those kinds of things. We definitely value research. We do want to prepare students for upper division work. We want to prepare students for honors conferences that we're going to talk about in a second, and those kinds of things. And project-based learning, where we're getting out into the community. We've had lots of students doing that. And getting internships in their field so that they can be ready not only for transfer but also for career. So all of those kinds of things go into our coursework. Conference applications, poster presentations. Our math department does amazing a colloquium where every week they're doing discovery and inquiry, and so our students can not only see what other faculty are doing as research, but they can also conduct that research themselves and present at research conferences. So we do, in a lot of our classes, have embedded library instruction. Our librarians are amazing resources and can really help move away from research as a Google search to really using academic databases on our campus and learning how to conduct the next level of research for an academic setting. So all of those kinds of things are happening in our classes. The honors program doesn't stand alone. Fullerton College is this wealth of community experiences, and one of the things I think is amazing about college is you really do get to discover who you want to be. And there's no limit to that. And so whether it's getting involved in athletics or the dance team or our amazing theater program, speech and debate, we have award-winning team that travels when travel is possible to conferences and really gets to know one another. It's a really great collaborative process. Our study abroad, when that comes back, is bar none one of the best experiences on campus. Student clubs, associated students, we just had our student elections, and so there's an opportunity to get involved as a student representative, getting involved in student government. Again, a little bit different from high school, where Associated Students body is a little bit more, leading school spirit and representing the students. We really do have a model of shared governance, where students have a seat at the table, where budget decisions are being made, where curriculum decisions are being made, where hiring committees are being made. I've served on the hiring committee for the president of our school and sat next to a student representative who had an equal vote to the faculty, to the administrators, to the classified staff, who are really instrumental in making our campus run. So if you have an interest in policy, if you have an interest in community, I would really encourage you to get involved in some way. We have the Hornet newspaper, we have the radio and TV program, we've got a drone program, so many incredible opportunities. So whatever it is that you're interested in, Honors wants to work with that program. Honors wants to highlight and amplify what's going on, and we want our students to be involved, and all of that sort of blends together for a really rich college experience that you can have here. So these research conferences that I'm talking about, that sounds a little scary, I know, particularly if you've never thought about doing academic research when you've just sort of done papers for classes. But one of the nice things about academic research is that you get to take your research outside of the classroom and present it to a broader audience. So most of the time, these research projects, these research papers, start inside the class. They start inside the class with embedded library. You can go to library.fullcall.edu and schedule an appointment with a librarian. They'll meet with you. They'll help you devise a research question and a hypothesis. You're going to be writing that paper and presenting it in class. And then you take that same project and you apply for a research conference. And so we have lots of opportunities. We have the UCI Honors Transfer Council. We've got the Western Regional Honors Council, the Bay Area Consortium, the National Collegiate Honors Council, and the mathematics. So there's lots of different opportunities depending on the subject matter that you're interested in. There's also other research opportunities. If you're a psych major, the WPA, the Western Psych Association, was supposed to meet this weekend in San Francisco, which got canceled. They've rescheduled to October, and we're hoping that will still go on. We have 2 students that have already been accepted to present there. The Bay Area Conference, unfortunately, it was supposed to be tomorrow. That got canceled. We had 3 students who had been accepted there. So originally on my Google Calendar, I'm supposed to be in Berkeley meeting with our alumni and having dinner before that conference, but I get to be here virtually with you. These conferences will, of course, open up again. And our students will be able to go to those conferences. And some of them have pivoted very quickly. The UCI conference pivoted to a virtual experience, and the WPA, the Western Psych Association, decided to postpone. So we'll have those. This is the UCI conference. Again, the Honors Transfer Council that I talked about, all those incredible, wonderful honors directors at my fellow campuses, put on a conference, and UCI hosts it. And we get to go to their beautiful campus, and our students get to present, and you'll see some of our alumni, Cami Serrano, who is currently sheltering in place at UCLA, and Aaron Kramer, who's sheltering in place in Orange County but is a Berkeley student. Lots of different familiar faces that have gone on and transferred. So that's an experience that's really great, to be able to present that academic research at our honors conferences. And so next spring, I have faith that we will be back in Irvine presenting again. The Bay Area Conference, again, it switches back and forth. So last year we were in Stanford. This year we were scheduled to be in Berkeley. And so we'll be back at Stanford next year, hopefully. But that's a really great event as well. You see Erin Kramer again. She presented at 2 different conferences. Kara Regan, who not only presented last year, but it was also accepted this year to present, and Stephen Benkin, who was doing a presentation on HPV, and so a scientific presentation of that. So there's lots of different opportunities for these conferences, and it's a really great opportunity for students to get outside of the classroom and to see themselves as scholars, to see themselves as academics. So even though that may seem a little bit scary, since you haven't yet stepped upon the college campus, but it's something to sort of dream about and put in the back of your head. If you have a research project for a class that you've already done, you might as well apply. Our honor societies, let's talk about some fun, let's talk about some clubs. So our students have the opportunity to join lots of different student clubs. It might be a major. We have the psych club, we've got a business major. We have honor societies, 2 of them, AGS and PTK, are both really great. They do a lot of community service, they do a lot of inquiry, they do a lot of campus service. They're involved. There's also clubs that are based on interest. So if you want to be part of the sustainability club, or if you're an undocumented student and you want to be involved in the Grads to Be program, lots of different clubs involved in student life and leadership. And so you want to go to the website for that, and you can find out more about how to get involved. But these are 2 really great ways. You don't have to be a member of the Honors Program to join an Honor Society. You don't have to be a member of the Honor Society to join the Honors Program, but there are just lots of different choices that you can make while you're here. You can join both of them, you can join neither, you can join one over the other, you can go to both meetings and find out which one you want. Lots of choices. So, study abroad. Again, this is a sad moment for study abroad. We actually had to bring our almost 40 students home from London, as every study abroad program did, bringing their students back from wherever they were studying. And so they came back, and unfortunately they were only there for a month, and so they didn't get to experience that semester in London, but they are home and safe. We've canceled our next two programs that were supposed to go to Japan and Italy in the summer and the fall. We're hopeful that our spring program can still proceed. We'll be, for now, considering whether or not that is a possibility to continue that application process and that interview process for the spring semester. But it is an incredible program, and I really want to encourage you, particularly those of you who haven't yet arrived. It's a really great opportunity to think of in your fourth semester, the spring that before you leave, the fall of your second year. And so we have quite a bit of time before you would be considering that. We have already Paris, France for spring 2021, Buenos Aires in Argentina for summer of 2021, and so hopefully everything will be open again, and we'll have a vaccine, and there'll be safety, and we'll be able to proceed. And please be assured, we are not moving forward with anything until those things are in place. But study abroad is a really incredible opportunity. And one of the reasons that I really like the program that we have here is, first of all, it's a lot cheaper than if you go to study abroad with USC, and you're paying USC tuition to travel. You can do that here for relatively cheap. If you're part of the Promise program, the tuition is paid. If you are not, then it's $46 a unit if you're paying full freight. If you qualify for financial aid, there's differences, and then you pay for the program itself. And there is financial aid available for that program. There's scholarships available for study abroad, so it's relatively less expensive than a lot of other programs. And then the other thing I love about our study abroad program is that we go together. And so in a fall or spring semester, there are two Fullerton College or Cypress College, that's our sister college in the North Orange County Community College District. Those professors go together. It might be some combination of that. About 40 students from those two schools travel together. And so it's nice to travel together. It's nice to have other people who are experiencing Japan for the first time and learning the language, and you're taking Fullerton College classes in English while you're there. You're either in a dorm situation or a home stay situation, depending on the program. Really great. So study abroad at fullcall.edu. You can find out more about that. STEM programs. Lots of our students are STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Hopefully I don't have to explain that. About 10 years ago, I had to explain that a little more detailed, but now that's sort of something that people understand. So if you are majoring in one of those fields, we have a lot of extra programs in the STEM program. And we have a great counselor, John Michael Hadabaugh, who works directly with our honors and STEM students. There's lots of opportunities for internships. There's lots of opportunities for tutoring. So if you're struggling with math or science and you want help, there's lots of help. If you're really great at those subjects, you can get a job tutoring other people. There's lots of collaboration in that program, because we do know that a lot of those courses can be challenging. So we have a lot of student support services. So we have a science club, we have STEM opportunities, we have field trips, we have guest speakers. They've gone to Google and to JPL, to Boeing, to the Orange County Sheriff Department. Lots of different opportunities to find out, what do you do with these majors? What do you do as careers? And so STEM is really providing a lot of that. I also encourage lots of internships. It's a great opportunity while you're a student to get to know what you might want to do. We've had students be accepted to the White House internship program, to NASA. We have a number of teams. Again, that STEM program is really great at preparing our students. Wall Street. And one thing to consider when you're coming to a community college is that, one of the big advantages is that you get to be a big fish in a small pond. That if you were going to UCLA or you were going to USC or you were going to Cal State Fullerton, there are not just undergraduates. It's not just freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. Well, we only have 2 years of that. There's also graduate students who are competing for these opportunities. So when you're talking about getting a team together to go to NASA, that's probably going to be graduate students. That's probably going to be upper division students who are juniors and seniors. Here, we don't have those students to compete. So when we're putting a team together for NASA, for the White House, for Wall Street internship, when we're recommending people, it's only the pool of people who are here. And so you get the opportunity to have leadership positions, you get the opportunity to advance, you get the opportunity maybe to do things that you might not be able to do with the competition of those universities and four-year programs. So it's just something to think about when you're considering where you want to go. Honor certified, how do you finish this program? So I sort of mentioned before, and it's just nice to have the words up there, you want to complete the program with 15 units of honors coursework. And so again, that's any combination. It might be a 5-unit class, it might be a 1-unit class, it might be 5 3-unit classes. Whatever combination gets you to 15. And then you need to have an overall cumulative GPA, honors and non-honors courses, that are about 3.4 by the time you're finishing. So you might dip below that a little bit. You might have a really tough semester. We don't have weighted classes for honors, so it's not a 5-point scale. When you're in an honors class, it's a 4-point scale, so the highest GPA that you can have is a 4.0. All those weights go out the window, and we're just on a 4-point scale. So when you consider the idea that maybe you have a tough first semester and you might have a 3.3 or a 3.2, you can stay in the honors program and just get that grade up. And so, you got a question? Yeah. Awesome, let's do it. I'm tired of talking. Let's do some questions.
So, let me get this
going.
I'm
just going to put up the STEM coursework.
Right, well one of them is actually related to the general honors requirements. One of the questions is that we have a senior at Troy High School with an IEP. Speaking now for them, I understand that the minimum GPA requirement is an unweighted overall GPA of 3.4. However, due to some unfortunate medical issues relating to my ADHD during my freshman year, I currently have a 3.39.
You're in.
So
yeah. When I say we're looking for interest, I mean we're looking for interest. If there are extenuating circumstances, if you had a rough semester, we have sort of a policy like whatever your worst year was, we can overlook it. If you had a bad freshman year, we can look at your GPA without that. If you had a bad senior year, we can look at your GPA without that. Honestly, what we're looking at is your interest in our program. If you want to join us, we want you to join. And all it costs us is your space in the program in one class. So if you try it out and it doesn't work, we can part as friends and you can go about your college experience. But most of the time, it's a success. Most of the time, students join our program, they really find themselves, and counterintuitively, by the way, I have students who say, well, I certainly don't want to take a class in math. I'm terrible in math. And I say, you should take a class in math in an honors program because it's only 20 students. You're going to get a lot more time proportionally of your faculty members' time, your professors' time. You're going to be surrounded by people who probably are good at math, who are going to be built-in tutors, and you can offer them help in English or in philosophy, and they can help you in math. So it sounds strange, but take your worst class in honors and see how it goes. So yeah, absolutely, a 3.3, come on in. Absolutely. And by the way, I don't have a slide up, but we have an amazing DSS office. You have legal rights here for accessibility, to have accommodations. And so we have an amazing disabled student center, which is an outdated term, but we still use DSS. But they will meet with you and they can take testing there. They have accommodations there. And so if you need longer on a test, that's absolutely something that we can provide. Whatever it is that your accommodations need, instead of an IEP, we move you over to a student services office, and we want to make sure that you meet with them early to make sure that we get all of those accommodations for that first year that you're here. So great question.
Okay, the next one is, Where can I find stats about UC acceptance rates specific to Fullerton College honor students? You did, I know.
Yeah, so UCLA is the one that tells us. So the problem is, it's hard to get stats otherwise because of privacy rules. So if you want to say, like, for instance, what's your acceptance rate at UC Davis? I don't know, because Davis doesn't give me a report. And I can tell you who got into Davis, because they usually fill out a little I got in star, and that's awesome and great. But I don't get to collect the data of who didn't get in, because that's the student's relationship with the university. So I have anecdotal information. Our counselors can kind of help you, but I don't have raw stats, and I wish I did. That's why I claim UCLA all the time, because they're the ones that give me the report. So I wish I had better data, but I don't. But depending on where you want to go, I can give you a gauge to kind of what I've seen. And by that, I'll give you an example. So we have yet, in the 12 years that I've been coordinator, to get a single student accepted to UCLA for communications. We get them accepted to journalism, we get them accepted to TV and radio, but for some reason that program is so gosh darn competitive that, I mean, one year I thought I had it. I thought I had this student. I couldn't have made a better student out of Clay. She was 4.0 and, you know, involved in everything on campus and first generation and all of these things. Brilliant communicator, had an internship at a TV station, and I thought for sure she'll get in. She got rejected. She got in for journalism, but she was rejected. And I called them and I said, I don't understand what could possibly have gone wrong. How could I possibly send you a better transfer student? And they said, we're just really impacted. And for transfer students, even though the CSUs and the UCs are legally required based on the California Mission Plan of 1960, the Master Plan of Education in 1960, that they accept a certain number of our students for transfer, they're not required to accept a certain number in every single major. And so their answer to me was, not enough students who were accepted 2 years ago as communications majors changed their major in the last 2 years. And so we expected that we would have more students drop out or transfer out or change majors, and we didn't, so we don't have enough spots. So we accepted a very, very small number. So that kind of stuff, if you know where you're, you know, wanting to go, I can give you anecdotally. The counselors are much better informed because they're seeing a lot more students. But we don't have the data. A long way of saying, I don't know. What school do you want to go to? What school are you interested in? You want to go to, do they?
Not yet.
That's all right, we'll wait. Those 3 little lines waiting for a response. Yeah, let's take another question, we can come back.
Okay, so, hold on.
Sure.
A lot of them came in at the same time.
Sure.
There was one question about the 2 free years of tuition, but actually the Fullerton College social media account provided some information about that.
Awesome, they're just tag teaming with us, that's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so next is, after applying for the honors program, how and when will we know when we are accepted into the program?
As soon as we get it. So there's not a big long application process. It'll take us a little while because we're working remote, so we have to get that, and our email system went down the last couple of days where it was pretty wonky, and I thought I was finally caught up on email, and then they all came in at once. So we are having a little bit of delay because of that, but it is not a long process. So if you turn in your application, it's available online. I'm going to show you where it is in just a little bit, but it's honors.fullcall.edu, and you just go join, and on the front page there is, I'm just going to do it right now. I don't know why I'm not doing this.
Yeah, that should answer. There's another question about how to start the application
Sure.
for the honors program.
Let's do it.
So,
honors.fullcall.edu. Didn't do the U. So there we go. And you just come in right here, and it says we're remote, and apply now, big. And it's just a Google Doc. It's going to capture that information. You can read all of this. It kind of gives you the information I already said. You're going to tell us the email number. If you don't have the student ID, don't worry about it. Just say current high school student. We're going to get you, but it's the same application for current Fullerton College students. So then you're just going to tell us your name and your address, where you're from. It's pretty easy. If you don't qualify, you can just give us a teacher, a professor, a counselor when you're going to graduate. So if you're coming here in the fall, you can just say, June 2020 or May 2020, depending on what high school you're at. It's fairly simple. A lot of it really is to help us know where you want to go after you're done with us. So it's where you came from and where you want to go. Other questions?
Well, going back to
Sure.
that question about where do you want to transfer, somebody wrote back, I'm not sure yet.
Sure. And that's a great answer, by the way. Oh my gosh, great answer. We have so many programs that you haven't experienced yet. Don't be undeclared. Yes.
I don't even know where I'm going to go yet.
Right, who knows? And the great thing is that college really is the opportunity to recreate yourself, to find out who you are. Who you are and who you want to be at 20 isn't necessarily who you want to be at 17 or 18. So be open to that. Take general ed classes. The entire bachelor's program of 124 units total to get a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, we kind of expect you're going to change your major once or twice. So there's this myth that everybody knows exactly what they want to do and exactly where they want to go. Most people don't. Most people change their major once or twice. So come in undeclared and shop. Go to the cafeteria of general education and take some classes that might interest you. And here's a tip. Take some classes that scare you a little bit. If you are scared of speech and debate, go take a class in speech and debate because they will make you get over that. If you are bad with money, take a class in personal finance and learn something. If you stumble over things and you want to get better at them, take a class in whatever that is. So yeah, you don't have to be declared. The difficulty in telling you an answer to something when you say, I don't know what I want to do and I don't know where I want to go, is I'm going to give you a really general answer, which is we have general ed plans called IGETC, which is something that I don't remember what it stands for, but basically this is a general suggestion, a general plan that gets you started with, you need to take an English class. And you need to take a biology class or a chemistry class or a geology class or all of these sorts of things, and it's kind of a checklist. So there's these big categories, and I'll show you in a minute. But basically, general ed are the classes that everybody has to take. And then you take major prep classes, which is now you know what you want to study. And then you can go to assist.org or you go to your counselor because the counselors are great. And I have this up here. We have honors counselors that specifically meet with honors. You might be in a different program and have a different counselor. But here, let's go to IGETC, Fullerton College. And here in articulation is the current IGETC, which stands for Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. Of course it does. And you can pretty clearly say, okay, I need an English class, or I have AP units, so I don't need that, or I already took that class, so I don't need it. And you need math, and so there's lots of choices. There's arts and humanities. There's humanities classes. These are the course departments: history or ethnic studies, philosophy, social and behavioral sciences. So there's lots of choices, and you can kind of do that. We have some really great classes that will meet those kinds of requirements. And full call. If you come here to Fullerton College and the schedule, right up here is the catalog and schedule. Summer classes here. Fall will be here soon. But you can also come down and look at the catalog. And this catalog, which has all of these information, has the degrees and certificates. And so if you know that you want a personal trainer certificate, you don't want to transfer, you want to be a personal trainer, these are the classes that you need to take to get that certificate. If you know you want to be a physical education degree, you're going to come here and you're going to see that. So in that catalog has lots and lots of answers of exactly what you need to do. But don't worry if you don't know. You can change. And don't worry if you don't know where you want to go. The reality is that maybe you applied and got rejected and you're not sure what you want to do next. That's great. Come here and figure it out. And then go to the transfer center and say, like, I've always wanted to go to NYU, or I've always wanted to go to Seattle Pacific, or I've always wanted to go to Davis, or I've always wanted to go wherever it is. And we can get you there. We have transfer center representatives from those schools who come here, who meet remotely. We have incredible support staff in that 200 building who are meeting remotely. So lots and lots of answers for those as you get those questions. What's next?
Well, going off of what you just said,
Sure.
Someone else actually did comment that they wanted to go to NYU.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have, we've actually got some alumni right now that are in New York. And one of the nice things about our alumni, you will hear when you come to Fullerton College this saying, it's our motto: once a Hornet, always a Hornet. Our alumni love to help current students. So, you know, if you want to go talk to Kevin Christensen, who's at Columbia University right now, he'll, when things open up, take you on a tour and take you out to coffee and talk about New York and where you can live. And, you know, if you want to go to Berkeley, there's lots of students up at Berkeley who can tell you about housing and co-ops. I just had a student who got accepted to Berkeley, and she's already applied for the co-op program up there of, you know, shared housing because our alumni told her about it. So there's lots of choices if you're thinking about it. Any specific question about NYU?
I don't see any on here, but if we...
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of our students transfer out of state. Lots of our students go other places, and so you just tell the counselors that and they can absolutely get that information. Usually what happens is our transfer programs to get into the UCs or the CSU are so well respected around the country that most private schools and most out-of-state schools accept those. Sometimes they have less requirements than our UCs do, and so sometimes you can transfer after just a year to those programs. You may not want to because of financial consideration, but yeah, not everything is 60 units.
There was a question about transferring after a year.
Yeah.
A student says they've talked to a counselor and they already have 35 out of the 60 units.
Yeah, so they can transfer after a year. USC often does that, where they do a 1 year to transfer. They accept you as an incoming, as a high school senior, and say, we will accept you if you do 1 year at community college. It's kind of a strange wait list, but we have lots of students who come here for a year and then go to their USC program. Lots of different private schools have different requirements. Whittier, you can transfer after a year. I guess, sure, if you want to pay $60,000 in tuition, you can do that, or you can stay and save a little bit of money. So yeah, lots of choices, but the CSUs and the UCs want 60 units to be able to transfer. All other schools kind of have different requirements. So.
In order to transfer as an honor student, do I have to get honor certified before the transfer application is due?
No. So no, we don't front load you and say you have to do all 15 units in your first year, because you're going to be transferring, you're going to be applying for transfer. So let's say you're graduating this semester, you come in fall 2020, your freshman year is spring 2021, and then right then in the fall of 2021, you're applying for transfer, because that process happens in October or November, and then you don't finish with us until spring of 2022. So it takes a little while for that to happen, and so you still have that whole year, that second year, maybe a third year if you are doing a lot of STEM programs, take 3 years because you have to take those sequential science and math courses, and you don't want to take 5 science classes at the same semester, so it takes a little bit longer. That's fine. But yeah, you don't have to be finished by the time you apply, and so you when you apply in October or November, you say that, you know, these are the courses that you will finish in the spring, and we have a really good idea of what we're going to offer, so you know that that's possible. And then if things change after you apply in October or November, if they change, most of the schools have an update, transfer update in January. If anything has changed, if perhaps we, you know, changed a class and you couldn't take it or you couldn't get in, then you can change and say, I'm going to take this other class. So yeah, you don't have to be finished by that time.
Is there a deadline to the application?
No, we have rolling deadlines. We'll accept you anytime. What you want to do is make sure you apply before registration, because you need to have everything done, and our office needs to process it before you register for classes, because our honors courses are restricted to only honors students, And so you have to be accepted into the program, coded in admissions and records, or else you won't be able to take the classes. So to get the real benefit of taking the courses, you want to do that before registration. But if you're not sure, if you want to kind of get your feet on the ground before you do, you can apply anytime, and we just then might not have any classes left if you don't apply until August for fall semester. But that's fine. You can be ready to go for spring.
Okay, here's another question. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you know the answer. I certainly do not. Can I major in cytotechnology at Fullerton College?
Let's look it up. What is that?
I'm not sure.
It doesn't look like it, and I haven't heard that term. So spell it for me.
CYTO.
CY. Let's look at cybersecurity. No?
I can look it up.
Paul's going to look it up. We'll figure it out. It doesn't look like we have a certificate in it. And again, just catalog that has all the degrees and certificates that you can look at. The other, let me show you while we're doing this. Assist.org is a really great resource that you can come and you can explore majors in transfer bound, and you can look and see all the kinds of different majors that you have. And so maybe computer science is something, and you want to look at bioinformatics, business information, cognitive science. Let's see what bioinformation does. Do any of these majors sound interesting? And the majors that you might want to transfer to. So even though we might not have a particular, we certainly don't have a major of genetics, you might be able to find that at a transfer school and then take what are called the major prep classes, which is doing the preparation for your chosen major. And so that's one of the things that's really great. So I'll just show you assist.org, where you can kind of play around because there are so many choices. You can say, I am at Fullerton College. There we go. Say, I'm at Fullerton College and I want to go to, let's say, San Luis Obispo. And I want to see those agreements. My major is, let's do agribusiness. And so you can see the agreement that we have. We don't have a lot of those courses, and so it wouldn't be a great idea to come here to get major prep for agribusiness because that's not something we have. But if you go back and you say, I want a different major, I want to do Fullerton College, I still want to go to San Luis Obispo, I'm going to be a business student. Now all of a sudden, there are lots of classes. You can take business law, you can take financial accounting or honors financial accounting. Again, that's a 5-unit class. That's where some of the different things are. And so you get a really good idea. They have some courses that we don't have. Those are the courses you're going to take when you transfer. You're going to take economics. You're going to take honors if you want. So those or economics or honors economics are going to tell you those kinds of things that honors exists. So what else?
We have a senior whose current major is technically psychology,
Yeah.
but has since changed their mind.
Sure.
So when filling out the honors application, should they say that their major is psychology or undecided?
Undecided is fine. Psychology is fine. You can change it. We're not concerned. We are not going to lock you into a program based on what that is. What it does is kind of give us an idea of what you might be interested in. And so I'm not going to push all of the, STEM programs on you for pre-med if you say you're a philosophy major and you want maybe pre-law or speech and debate. So that just kind of indicates to me what you're interested in. It doesn't lock you into anything.
And the last one we have on the board right now.
Yeah.
Has anyone gotten in from Fullerton to the NYU Tisch School of the Arts, as far as you know?
So we've had someone 3 years ago who got a audition, which was amazing. It was a really kind of banner year. We had somebody get an audition, an interview to transfer to Harvard, which they almost never take transfer students. They take lots of grad school students. And we had somebody get into Tisch for an audition. They ended up not going. I want to say they ended up going, I don't remember, Berklee School of Music? Somewhere else in New York, but not NYU. So yeah, we have not had anyone that I know of, but honestly, it might be that the theater department has a lot more connections with those alumni. So it's not necessarily that all of our performing arts majors are in the honors programs. A lot of them are so busy performing and in community theater, as well as our incredible theater program and music program, that they don't always cross my path, and those applications are really exciting. So it's possible that our theater department or our performing arts department would have more alumni. We have, Cress Williams and who's John Tabay is the dean of that, but we have some alumni who you would recognize who are on Broadway and in movies, and James Cameron is an alum, and Cress Williams, who's amazing and wonderful, but I can't think of any of his role. IMDb exists for a reason. You can look up that. But yeah, we've got some really great alumni who love coming back, love our program, love our faculty, and often you'll see them on campus as guest speakers when they're in the area. So, but that's over there in the theater department. So yeah, I don't know of anybody who's at Tisch right now, but we do have a lot of incredible performers. Okay, so let's just ask some questions. Again, oh yeah, that's okay. Good, we want questions.
More of a academic question.
Sure.
So there's someone who's looking at the catalog right now.
Yeah.
About a political science AAT. So
all right,
that's right up your
I
alley.
might be able to answer that.
Only two political science classes are listed as honors classes.
Yeah, so we have contemporary issues in American politics and, well, 3, so technically, but it's not for the ADT. So we have my contemporary issues in American politics class, and we have American government. Those are honors courses. We also have another one that I can't quite get the universities to accept, but it goes as elective, but it would count for honors certification. And so that class is the honors capital field trip to Sacramento, that we actually travel to Sacramento. Incredible class for political science. We can't get them to accept it. That's okay. So you get to take that class. So there's 9 units possible in political science, but you can take other classes that you would need, because again, you're taking general ed. So yes, that is true for political science, that we have those classes available.
So if there are not any other specific classes for the political science degree that are offered in honors,
Yeah.
how do students take enough honors classes to transfer specific to their AAT degree?
So in addition to the ADT, which is an associate's degree for transfer, that's your major classes. In addition to that, you also have to have those general ed classes. You have to have an English class. You have to, if you're going to the CSU, you have to have a communication class, the Golden 4, which your counselors will tell you all about. So those are the required classes that are beyond just the major. Because if you were just taking political science classes, you would come here, take 18 units, and you'd be done. And again, we said 60. So a lot of those courses that you're going to take in honors are going to be in those other classes. It might be, the art history class, creative arts, which is amazing. And they go to performances and the theater and museums, and they unfortunately, had to transition, and so they didn't get to go to the Getty. So they Zoomed and went to the virtual Getty, and they actually had some fun because the Getty had a challenge of take a famous piece of art and recreate it at home. And so a couple of them dressed up their dogs as famous portraits, and they had some fun with that. So there are lots of classes that aren't necessarily in your major, that a library class, trying to think, honor Shakespeare, an English class that you might take is amazing. British Lit as an honors class that you can take. Music that you can take. Trying that's the creative arts music class that kind of exposes you to performances. So lots of honors courses. And if you go to, let's do that. Where's my honors? That's not it. Could be it. If you go up here, you can get an idea of those honors courses. And so there's a list: anthropology and biology, English, folklore and mythology, intro to oceanography. Those are all going to be general ed courses that you take: history classes, algebra, nutrition, world religion, psych, sociology, marriage and family, or Spanish. Those are going to be lots of different classes that you can take.
Okay, and then
I'm going to just put up as background while I'm talking, some of the alumni have kind of shared. I asked them, what would you tell students who are thinking about the program? And they had such good advice, which is, don't worry about what other people think and make the choice for yourself. So, questions? I'm going to grab some water.
So we have another question. Do we offer honors classes in the summer so that students can get a head start?
So yes and no. So what we have for the summer and what we tend to offer is the 1-unit library class, which is a really great way to start, which is kind of a condensed class, 1 unit, and it's Introduction to Research, which is incredible and really useful to kind of introduce you to college. The reason we don't offer a lot of other classes is because they are condensed. And so it's tough to dive really deep when you're trying to go super fast. And so they are condensed courses. So you can take other classes. We absolutely encourage you to take 1 or 2 and maybe a course that gets you started. But yeah, we don't offer a lot of honors courses because we don't want you to power through those. We want you to ruminate and enjoy those.
When is the honor schedule for fall 2020 going to be released?
So it's going to be released June 7th, I think, or is that the day it's due? It's going to be released in June. And we will have, the honors program will have a preview of that once it's settled. It's a little bit delayed because of this transition, and we're trying to figure out, do we want to offer remote or do we want to offer online? And so there are discussions going back and forth about that. But the beginning of June, check back with our schedule. Honestly, it tends to be the same rotation that we try to keep. So if you look at fall, what was fall 2019? That was last fall. You'll see pretty much what we start with as the template. It's not going to be exact. It's not going to be the same exact professors or the same exact times, but it tends to be fairly close to what we offer in fall. And so again, if you look at what's offered in spring, if you look at one of those class schedules and you see, and if you go to H for honors, there's a whole section in the printed PDF class schedule where you can look and see all the honors courses on one nice little page.
So when study abroad comes back, how do you qualify?
So what we're looking for study abroad is somebody who already has taken 12 units at college, because of course we want to make sure that you're successful as a student before we take you on the road to another country. So usually we have you apply in your second semester. So usually it's something we want you to do second year. But if you wanted to take classes in the summer, at not 12 units, I wouldn't advise that. That's a lot to take. But if you wanted to take a couple of classes in the summer to get your feet grounded at college and then take a full load in the fall, and then maybe you're applying, if we were coming back in the spring, in October, that would be kind of the traditional schedule. You can usually get faculty recommendations. If we're not back, if we're not planning on study abroad in the spring, then you would wait and finish that fall semester and you would apply in like March of 2021 for a summer or fall study abroad opportunity in 2021. So that usually is what happens. We want to make sure that you are, successful before we take you out of the country.
Is it too late to sign up for summer classes, especially the honors research class?
So honors research is not yet full, and I checked that at 6 o'clock yesterday morning. I didn't check it today. I don't think that there was, yeah, Paul will check for us. But I don't think it's full, and I think there's still time. And so although registration has started for summer, there's still a lot of open classes because it just began this week. So it's not too late to register. If you were in a high school class, if you did early, what is that called? Early admit, early planning, early college, early whatever. I don't remember what the program is called. If you did that and you already registered for college and you said your start date was fall 2020, you have to reapply to start in summer. Just a fairly simple process, but a lot of times those counselors advise you to apply for summer, even if you don't want to go, because then you don't have to reapply. So just check and see if you've already applied, whether or not, if you didn't get a registration date, that means that you didn't apply for summer, and you can easily do that.
Okay, so I did just check,
Uh-huh.
and the honors intro to research class still has 13 spots left. So
Good.
I don't
So sign up. Come on. It really is a great class.
All right.
I'm going to switch and let you talk to Jason. Jason went to UCLA and, talked about the idea that go to a community college and get involved. And yeah. Other questions? Okay. So, what else? What else? Yeah, sure. And if you want to flip that camera and talk about your own experience, feel free, because I've talked a lot. But yeah, just the idea is, I see, Jason, help me. Every time we talk to UCLA, they say, transfer students have higher GPAs than native students. Native students meaning the students who started freshmen and went all 4 years or 5 years. Transfer students have higher GPAs, transfer students have higher graduation rates, transfer students have higher employment rates. So transfer students really are incredibly successful after they transfer. And we have that data from the schools. We know that transfer students will often have higher acceptance rates to professional schools, to grad schools. Transfer students often have an easier time getting letters of recommendation because they were in classes of 20 students instead of, the course that I teach here as an honors course is 20 students. If you take it at Santa Barbara, the course is 1,200 students for that same class and have GSIs, grad student instructors who meet in study groups. The first 800 meet in a massive lecture hall, and then the other 400 are in a second lecture hall where they live stream the event, and you have this big long line to ask questions. You're going to have a much easier time getting a letter of recommendation from one of our honors faculty. If you take honors Shakespeare with Miguel Powers, one of our stellar colleagues and professors, he dresses up as Shakespeare and takes you on the quad when that's available. You're going to have an amazing letter of recommendation and collegial relationship where he's able to offer that advice and counsel and mentorship. So some really nice benefits from coming here. Elise, I just saw Elise the other day on Zoom, and she said, ignore people who say that community college isn't right for you. And a lot of times I spend the first year that somebody comes to the community college trying to convince them that it didn't make a massive mistake. And the second year they convince me that it was the best decision of their life and try to kind of become the evangelist and go talk to students about how great it is. So you really do want to make decisions based on what's right for you and not necessarily the social status of where everybody is talking about getting in. Sana is at USC, and she talked about coming here was the best thing she did for her education, and diving deep into subjects and really training yourself and getting good habits. Having lots of friends that are at different schools is also a really big benefit that you don't necessarily think of, that you're making connections in those honor societies and clubs and student leadership and the honors classes. And those students are transferring all over. And so all of a sudden you have friends that are at NYU and Berkeley and UCLA and USC and Cal State Fullerton and Davis and UC Merced and San Francisco and Washington and all of those places. So it's really kind of a nice benefit of that. So Corey at Stanford, Community college changed my life, and the whole reason he's at Stanford with a full ride scholarship, he's a single dad who's at Stanford with a full ride and has amazing opportunities for his 5 or 6 year old daughter, is because he came here and had those opportunities. So nice. Kimberly, who's at Columbia, you're not going to care what your friends think of your college once you graduate. And I think that's really important to realize, that a lot of times you think people are judging you and they just want you to succeed. So, all right, questions? Good. Yeah.
So, how much is the cost for the study abroad program above and beyond tuition, and is there financial aid available for that?
So, yes. So again, if you're in the Promise program and you have the first 2 years paid for, that doesn't cover that doesn't cover study abroad. It would be nice if it did. Everybody would go. Maybe not everybody. It's about the trip, the flight, and the housing, and the food. It's about, depending on where you go for a fall or spring semester, the full 3 months, 90 days is the student visa. It's about $8,000 to $10,000, depending on where you're going to go and depending on where those second trips are. We build in, like a spring break, where if you're studying in Rome or you're studying in Paris, you might take a week and go to, another country, England or Spain. You might go somewhere else for that spring break. And so that is going to depend on how much extra you want to pay. But that probably is going to be about $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, and kind of all-inclusive. There is financial aid available. There's also just the idea of, planning ahead and working and putting money aside for that. Christmases and GoFundMe and birthdays. We had one student who at the orientation said, I absolutely want to study abroad, and sold t-shirts and made t-shirts and had an Etsy store, and he was just creative and put all that money away and ended up paying for it that way. There is financial aid. There are scholarships. The Gilman Scholarship that you can apply for has financial aid, and I know for the summer or the January term, we have a winter session, and so they went to Africa this last January, and one of the students there, Monica, had the scholarship. It's less money when you're only going for a 4-week time, and so that covered a significant portion of it.
So
it's definitely worth it.
Going back to what you said, the second part to that question was how long are the study abroad
Fall
trips?
and spring are 90 days, usually March to May. So you meet January, the end of January to the beginning of March as a class, once a week, and you get to know one another, and you take some cultural classes, you get some introduction, what the food is going to be like, what the etiquette is going to be like, and a little bit of the language, and then you travel for March to May, and you come back for the fall. Same kind of idea, that late August until October or September. So that, and you probably leave October, November, December, you're in that country and then coming home. And you can add on to that. If you didn't want to come home with the group, you could extend your stay depending on your visa. But that would be on your own.
My registration date for summer classes is May 6th. If I apply to the honors program now, how soon can I register for honors research?
So we have opened that up so that you don't have to worry about it. You can absolutely join without worrying about us accepting you. We can absolutely, if you apply today, get you in by May 6th, but you don't have to worry about that piece of it. We will get you registered in the program, but you can, if you have a registration date tonight, you can go apply for it because it's open to everybody, but nobody knows that. So I just wanted to take one more barrier off so you didn't have to worry.
Does the honors research class over the summer satisfy GE requirements?
I don't know. That's a good thing about the catalog. We can look that up. If you can't get in to see a counselor to ask those kinds of questions, you can always look at the catalog. The catalog is your rates. And so let's see where we left that. We're going to look at library, and that's degrees, so we don't have that. We're going to look at course descriptions, and we're going to look at library, and it transfers to the CSU and it transfers to the UC, and it's degree credit, so that means it's an elective. but it doesn't necessarily meet a general ed requirement. So it's one unit that they'll count as elective credit. So they will count it, but it doesn't satisfy, social behavioral sciences requirement. It doesn't satisfy science. It doesn't satisfy one of those general ed. But it counts as UC or CSU transfer. Okay. What else? What else do you want to know? And we've got a student here. Ask Paul some stuff.
Where do we go to register for the honors research class?
So you register, you have to apply to the school, the CCC Apply, which is on the website for the school, Fullerton Full Call. Let's look at that. When you want to apply, you go. And then it's just under, you'll get a registration date. So admissions, apply now, nice yellow button. You can figure out the cost. It's $46 a unit if you're paying for that. There's a health fee for the semester. You can apply for financial aid, and then you can get all the kind of information, high school partnerships to transition if you're not yet starting and you want to know that. But just come down to the steps to get started, do them kind of in order. We do have an orientation online that kind of tells you some of these things that we've talked about for those people who aren't tuning into the honors program. And then once you get the registration date, they send you instructions. You go to My Gateway and you get a registration date, and then you apply, and then you just look at the library and you apply. So, yeah. But I don't think it'll fill up this next week. There are 13 spots open. So there's plenty of space, but it's a really great class.
That's all the questions we have for now. If you want, I can.
Yeah, why don't you tell them about your experience?
Okay. Ask me some questions.
Okay, I'll ask you some questions. Yeah, why Fullerton College? Why did you choose this? And what's your experience been? What do you wish you'd known before you came? I remember you at an orientation your junior year, so you were definitely preparing early to ask questions and figure out your path. Yeah, what's the best thing about Fullerton College? Let's start there.
I've liked the whole experience. I'll just kind of start from the beginning. When I was in high school, I didn't really know for sure where I wanted to go to college. I've always had USC in mind.
Sure.
My dad went there, and it's just been, one of those schools that's just kind of a dream school. But like I said, I didn't really have anything in mind for even a major coming out of high school. And so just kind of thinking about it, I had known about Fullerton College, and I realized that there was an opportunity to pursue journalism.
Yeah.
And what I'm kind of looking at now is going into sports journalism and perhaps sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
I've had an amazing opportunity this past year to be one of the PA announcers for our Fullerton College basketball team, as well as helping out with some of the baseball games before our season, unfortunately, got canceled.
All sports.
All spring sports, yeah. But I like the whole experience here at Fullerton College.
Yeah. And I think that kind of is a really great example of what we allow students to do, which is try things on. And you want to announce the baseball games? We don't have an announcer. Hey, bring your mic. We'd love to have you. I think that that's really something that I've discovered for students is that just ask.
Yeah.
And often the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So you're announcing, thinking about sports broadcasting, journalism. What else? What class were you surprised you liked?
Well, I've always kind of been into writing, but one thing that actually hit me this semester, I'm taking English 103, which is typically the second required. Yeah,
you kind of start with English 100, you take English 103.
And one thing that just kind of shocked me was I took English 100 honors, and now I'm in English 103 honors. And we're working on a group project here as we close out the semester, a group research project. And I really have just enjoyed working on writing, and that was just one thing that it's just finally kind of hit me about kind of putting the pieces together, and
Yeah. That's nice.
yeah.
Kind of puts it all together, right?
And yeah, and for, I don't know what to really call it, I guess the honors difference or the honors experience.
Yeah.
Compared to some of my non-honors classes, the teachers in particular are really, or the professors are really just focused on your success as a student.
Mm-hmm.
The other people in the class, your classmates, are really just there to learn and
Yeah.
to enjoy learning
Yeah.
and to put forth their best effort.
Yeah. It's a nice atmosphere.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of nice energy when you walk into an honors class. And I think that, sometimes there's that idea of it's elitist or it's exclusionary, and I don't feel that at all. I
No,
feel like
I don't.
everybody,
It's
you
really,
don't.
do you want to,
Yeah.
do you
I don't
want to
think it's
succeed?
about-
Do you want to?
Yeah, I think it's
learn?
about intention, right, rather
Yeah.
than performance.
Right.
Yeah, it's do you want to? Are you interested? And even if you shoot for it and you fall a little short, that's okay. We're all trying together. And yeah, I think that atmosphere is really a good energy across campus of, the interest, the curiosity. Yeah, so that's nice to hear. What else? What else do students need to know? Any tricks as a student? Like, how do you find out what professor to take?
I've used Rate My Professor a few times,
Okay.
and that's helpful, when you just don't know a whole lot. You can ask other people that work on the campus.
Yeah.
I've asked you a few questions about professors
Sure.
and other professors that I've had
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah,
And so that's a easy
Yeah.
way, ask people and use
Yeah.
Rate My Professor if it comes to that.
yeah,
And
we have amazing recommendations of our colleagues, even though we're not in their classes, but we hear so many great things from their students that we
ask,
want to
ask
share.
even your fellow students if anyone else
Yeah,
is
the
taking
students
class.
are really, really good at that. And what about books? You got to buy books when you come to college. Yeah.
I found out just recently, this semester, Amazon is a more affordable place to rent books.
Yeah, you can rent them. Rent, don't buy.
Yeah.
If it's not something in your major that you want to hold on to for the rest of your life.
Well, there are some places where you do have to buy.
Yep.
Search around, shop around.
Shop around, share with a friend.
Yep.
The library has really great resources. A lot of professors will put their books on reserve. So unless somebody is paying the bill, don't walk over to the bookstore and buy everything off the shelf. Be deliberate. Be careful shopper. You can usually bring those prices down a lot. And renting, borrowing, the library. And I think also the best advice I have is if you're not in a program where the books are covered, if you are paying for those books yourself. Reach out to your professor and say, like, this is really an expensive book and I can't afford it. And, often we have books that will let you borrow, or there's a less expensive version. Again, I think it's about intentionality of letting people know what those barriers are, because we're really going to work. We've got a food bank on campus. We've got, resources on campus. We're doing drive up food on Fridays. We've got great partnerships with Pathways of Hope. If you're struggling for basic needs, we acknowledge that a lot of our students are, and particularly right now. If you're somebody who already filled out the FAFSA, this was a question we got last night, somebody who filled out the FAFSA in January where things looked great and their finances have definitely changed, and you can do an update.
Yeah.
You can do an update and let the financial aid program know that things have changed, as they have for so many families. So good. So other questions, just let us know.
Let's see. I think we had another.
I got a couple more questions for Paul. If you don't have things, I'll ask. But we're kind of wrapping things up. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and live streaming or watching later. It's kind of a fun way to do that. Again, this is one of our classrooms that we hope to return to soon. And if not, we kind of will meet virtually in a variety of ways. So
Let me shine the spotlight back on you
Okay.
just for a second.
Sure.
We do have another question.
okay, good.
Are honors classes only available for core classes like English or history, or are there other honors classes?
So there
for
are other
other
courses, and
subjects and
so my
majors?
Sacramento class is a really good example of that. that we have classes that don't meet general ed requirements. We try to keep them in general ed so that they're wide and broadly applicable to all different majors. But we do have some specialty courses, the creative theater, arts, music course that does performance-based work, and field trips is one of those. But you can kind of take a look at our website and look at those honors courses. We try to do a lot of general ed so that people can do that. One thing we didn't dive in too much is the STEM certification, that if you're a STEM student and you can't get those 15 units, we have another path where you can do 9 units of honors coursework, and then you can take high-level science and math courses and do kind of making it honors with some of those high-impact practices. So we give you credit for 6 units of STEM coursework that isn't honors, partially because like the physics professor says, like, I already have a really small class, I can't make it honors and exclude people who aren't in the program. And so we say, okay, take that class and we'll give you credit for it being honors, and then come over here and take what you learned in that physics class and apply to a conference, or, you know, go to the United Nations and present on climate change like a couple of team members did in that physics class. You don't have to do that. You know, apply to have a rover on Mars. You don't have to do that. You can just have an internship in your field. You can do some experiential work and get credit for that. So STEM certification is a little bit different, and that kind of ties in to that idea. Yeah? Oh, we lost our computer. Said you're not using me. Okay. So what else was I going to ask Paul? So what advice would you have as a recent senior? What's the best way to prepare for college? Enjoy summer or take a class?
Well, personally, I didn't take any summer classes coming in as a senior, but if that's up your alley, if there's something
personal
you want
choice.
to do, you know,
what about getting involved in sports? You're involved with golf team, golf club?
Yes. So we're trying to. Fullerton College, as far as I know, has not had a men's golf team for
A few years.
at least 20 years.
Yeah.
Probably more than that. So what we're trying to do right now is we already started a golf club here
Okay.
on campus for anyone who wants to play golf.
Great.
It's just kind of a fun, more relaxed environment to do so.
Yeah. So not competitive.
No.
Learn how to play.
And
what if you've never played, you don't have clubs, you have no idea what that is?
other
Can you
people
still
have
join?
clubs. Please
Yeah, we
join,
can get you
come
clubs.
out to a meeting.
Yeah.
We'll find clubs and
Yeah.
our
And right now, particularly if you're kind of homebound, golf is a really great socially distant, physically distant thing. And the golf courses in Orange County just opened up, so people are getting out in a little bit of sunshine and fresh air and learn how to play golf with a really great golf teacher. Naveen
Yes.
Kanal is really great, and he's our women's golf coach.
He's also our faculty advisor for the golf club.
There you go.
He is a great teacher, and
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about the game from him. He's a very good man as well. And
Yeah. And and if you have absolutely no experience golfing, he actually just came and helped my 12-year-old kid who's getting a little housebound crazy and needs to learn some sport. And since basketball and baseball and everything else he plays has been canceled, he's going to learn golf. So he was out on the driving range today, and we want to do that. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities like that. Theater tech, getting involved backstage, there's lots of opportunities. So whatever it is that you're interested in. Any last questions? Are we ready to close
well,
out?
I don't know. You did ask a little bit about sports, and I don't know starting out. But I know one story you've talked about is with Brendan in baseball, what his experience was and how you.
He's a
you guys
returning
kinda
student,
worked with
and
that.
he wanted to play baseball, and the coach said, we've already got our team, and he said, I'll just keep practicing. And he showed up and got a spot on the team. And so, that culture of yes, of going after what you want. And so he's been having a lot of fun. Just try out for the teams. And whether there's open auditions, you can just contact them and email them and ask questions. So don't think that things are closed just because you didn't find out about it earlier. So, yeah.
We do have another question that just
Great.
popped up. I don't know if it's for you or for me.
That's
or,
all right.
I
We
mean,
can
we can
figure it
both.
out.
Is it worth taking classes over the summer as an honor student with the goal to transfer after 1 year? Well, the thing, if you're looking at just taking honors classes, I know we just have the research
Yeah.
class, so if you're interested in that.
I guess the first question is, what's your hurry? Really nice, stick around a little while. I know people are kind of in a rush to get out, but yeah, I think you can, is the answer. You can leave after 1 year, you can stay for 4, you can, leave on a more traditional path. It's up to you what you want to do. Kind of that's the, I think, biggest thing, the biggest difference between high school and college is like you can make your own schedule. If you're not a morning person, don't take morning classes.
Yeah.
Take night classes. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm more of a morning person. I took a morning class for the first time this semester, a math class that started at 7 a.m. So
7 a.m., yeah.
people were questioning my decision on that, but
Sure.
I actually enjoyed it, and we're still doing our Zoom meetings at 7 a.m. And it's just
Shorter
it's a good way.
commute now.
Yeah, really.
And yeah, if you want to get up and get things over with, it's like that's the kind of nice thing is it just works for whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think about commutes and parking not being a factor in Southern California.
Oh, yeah.
But for now, that's sort of suspended, and the commute is, from the bedroom to the Zoom.
Yeah.
Which was really nice on my way to UCLA. Had the biggest attendance of all the years I've been going because people from Northern California Zoomed right in. But yeah, I think setting up your own schedule, looking at a schedule of things that interest you. If you're kind of struggling with this last semester of high school and you're thinking, God, I don't even know if I want to go, take some classes that are really intriguing. Take a personal finance class. Take classes that are interesting to you. That might be a little bit off the beaten path. A lot of them, if you look at the catalog, are going to count for elective transfer, maybe not exactly advancing you on those major prep classes, but you might want to take something that's really interesting, take a look at, kind of spend some time with the class schedule, the PDF of just kind of flipping through and saying, I've never heard of that department, I've never heard of that department, what are those classes, and kind of get an idea and sample. We have a buffet available, and you really do get to pick and choose and make your own path, which is really nice when you're kind of structured with that high school schedule of you have to take an English class and a history class and a science class, and now you can take none of those, and you can take 4 classes in theater if you want. It's really up to you, and I think that flexibility and autonomy, that creativity and choice are fun and a little bit scary, so we give you a general ed plan that kind of keeps you on the straight and narrow. We give you an education plan that says this is what you want to do to stay on track, but you can call an audible and take whatever you want and just add that to your path. That's fine. All right, any other questions? So I thank you all again. I thank you all for coming and ask questions, and send us an email at honors@fullcall.edu. Or log on to that Cranium Cafe on Monday and knock on my door. And thank you. Hope to see you guys in fall.